council meeting Tuesday, October 11th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. Please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you again today to thank you and to magnify your name, for this is the day that you have made, and we are obligated to rejoice, and we are glad in it. We thank you for this, your people who are here to do the business of the town of White Springs. We ask that you will take us to higher heights and deeper depths in you, and in everything we do, God, that we give you the glory. Thank you for all you've done, what you're doing, but most of all for what you're going to do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mary
Here.
Nicole Williams.
Here.
LaRita McCallum. Jacqueline Williams. Anita Rivers is here. We have a quorum. We will continue with the agenda. Before we get started, I'd like to move this, 7A, CDGB evaluation and grant administration for Jordan Associates. I'd like to move that up under additions and deletions to the agenda. So Ms. Catherine, I'm just getting approval to move it up. Any other additions or deletions on our amendments to the agenda?
Hold on, okay.
Go to October. October. That's this one's start with.
But she's coming before the citizens from the floor.
Yes. So she can go ahead, we can go ahead, and she don't have to stay for any of that. Any additions, deletions, and or amendments?
I want to make an addition. I want to go back to and do a discussion on the different committees for the town, special events committee.
So that would be 7E. Town committees. Any other additions, deletions, or amendments? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'm Mary through the town committee.
No, to approve the agenda as amended. I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'm Mary through the commission for amended. Did I do it right?
No. Motion to approve a motion.
I, Nicole, will move that we accept the motion, the minutes as amended.
Not the minutes.
As amended.
Just say so moved.
So moved, please say. I would like to have a motion to have the agenda. Y'all got me messed up.
So moved, yeah.
Oh my God.
The mayor's calling for a motion to approve the agenda as amended. If anyone wants to make that motion, just say so moved.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. The CDBG evaluation and grant administration for Jordan Associates. This is for the CDBG neighborhood revitalization grant that we applied for, and they were the only company.
It's not neighborhood revitalization, it's housing rehabilitation.
Housing rehabilitation. And they were the only company that submitted to handle the job of doing this project. So the council has to do an evaluation on them and point them on each line item that's on this sheet. You should have in your folder.
After your minutes, everything is in order.
Yeah. And so you can turn to right under section 1 is the first one where it says knowledge of state and federal regulations governing the CDBG program. And they have their statement in there, which you should have already read over, and just evaluate whether you think they have the knowledge of state and federal regulations governing this program.
Mayor, if
Now.
I may, I'll just read a couple of excerpts of it.
Okay.
Okay. Jordan Associates area of expertise is within the CDBG program to include small cities, CDBG, CDBG-DRI, and CDBG-DREF, where we have enjoyed the opportunity to provide application preparation and administrative services for more than 50 towns, cities, and counties throughout the state of Florida, totaling over $135 million in competitive awards and allocations through the CDBG program. So that's their experience.
And also, they have had experience with the town of White Springs before. When I came in 2013, they were already established with the town. So it goes back even further than that. And they have actually, over the years, the town of White Springs has been awarded $1.19 million in funds from different grants.
Just working with
And just working with Jordan and Associates. I know Ronald Van Zandt, I haven't seen him in a long time, and I just now meeting Miss Kathy Baker recently, but, yeah. Did you want to say something?
Oh, no, for those who haven't, participated in a process like this before, the points that are awarded to the different categories, it's entirely up to you how many points you award. Some people use scales where they award fewer points to allow for more points to be awarded to others. In this circumstance, you only have one candidate. So whether you award 1 or 30, it really isn't going to matter in the end. But I don't want you to feel like you're supposed to award 27 or you're supposed to award 29. You're literally just going to assign point values to these categories and determine if you're first.
Can I ask a question? Do the council even have to go through the whole entire system since they're the only ones?
They really don't have to. So the thing that makes it important is that you had a competitive solicitation.
Okay.
Which means you advertise it and you ask for other people to put in.
Yes.
I'm sure we've done that. And as long as you did that and you only ended up with one, then it's, the council has the discretion to say, well, that'll have to be the one. The only alternative would be to re-advertise.
Okay.
And so if you're satisfied with the single application you received, you can go ahead and fill this out and say that you're satisfied, all these categories are satisfied, go ahead and appoint them and let them get to work. And I believe that's where you're at.
Okay, so what is the pleasure of the council at this time? Does anybody want to go through the process, or?
And if you need any information, I can.
Yeah, if you need any questions, maybe Vanessa can answer them for you.
I can tell you that, since coming aboard and trying to do this grant, Ms. Kathy Baker has single-handedly, helped us with the application, everything that, pretty much handled everything that she could within, the law for us. Jordan Associates been absolutely, like I said, great. They have experience with the town, helping the town with 1.9 million. She's familiar with the conditions, what we need. They have plenty of expertise, plenty of experience, and she's offered that to us even before getting this bid. And she's here again.
Right.
And she's came before the town even before we decided to hire them.
Right.
And made a presentation as well. Approach to the task, they've done above and beyond.
The areas are the knowledge of state and federal regulations governing the CDBG program. The experience, which we know they've had over 12, 13 years at least experience with the
And Ms.
town.
Baker has over 40 years of experience in CDBG grant. 40.
I I know she became familiar with the conditions because then you go on the site visit. Did you go on the site visit with the gentleman? Yeah, so she knows the conditions of the town and
The motion, if any council member would like to make it, would be to select Jordan and Associates for grant administration services.
do y'all wanna go through the proper process of grading or y'all just wanna do a motion? Yeah, I mean, it's on us.
Since we've worked with them before and they're knowledgeable about the town, we have many years of experience of working with them, I suggest we forego the proceeding and just go ahead and hire them.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve Jordan and Associates, for the project?
Go ahead, man.
I'm here to approve.
So moved.
So moved. Move on.
That's the second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. So that's it, Ms. Kathy. You don't have to go through any of this. Congratulations.
I wanted to ask, our attorney, what am I doing with the sheets? I'm just saying that the council did unanimously vote to.
Yes, ma'am. If you had multiple candidates,
You would have.
you fill out the
Yes.
numbers, and it's just as part of the RFP process. But when you only have one, the options for the council are hire that one or rebid.
Gotcha.
All right, we'll move on to citizens from the floor. Barbara Freyfield, please come forward, state your name and address.
Freyfield, 16588 River Street, White Springs, Florida. I just wanted to ask how many permits have been given out to the internet gambling establishments as of today?
There have been two.
Okay, there's no new ones that have applied?
There can only be two internet cafes, and then there's
Not
two
internet
in the
cafes,
stores.
sweepstakes.
I mean, sweepstakes.
Mhm.
And then the stores, have to have less than 5 machines, the two stores. The
Okay.
Munchies and the store out here on the curb. They can only have 4 machines,
Okay, all right,
up to 4.
okay.
So that's where the people are getting it mixed up, that there are 4 or 5 casinos, y'all are calling it.
Correct.
But it's only 2 internet cafes, and then, like I said, the stores. But there's only been two applications approved, right, Vanessa?
Just
I'm
two.
sorry.
Only 2 permits have been given out, right?
That's the only,
Yes.
permits we're
Okay.
gonna give.
That's it.
Thank you for clearing that up.
We've been trying to clear it up for months, but everybody keeps coming with the same question.
Yeah, just, and then tonight, where it says reading adoption of CDBG 504 policy resolution, what does that mean? Policy resolution? I'm not sure what a policy resolution
It's
is.
for the, 504 is
She can answer
disability.
that.
She
That
can-
is-
she
she
said
can-
she'll
She
say-
could answer those type of questions, you just
Okay.
couldn't answer anything for that.
You can go ahead and answer that, what it's for.
The section 504 is the American Disabilities Act, and in order to get the grant and to maneuver through the grant, you have to have that resolution in place. And the town has done that in the past. This was just to refresh it, have new names on it and that kind of thing, so that whenever we give the documents to the department, then they're updated documents and they have everything on file. All of your plans and policies have just been sent to the state for the site visit that we've just done. And this was one that had not been updated, so that's why I provided you with a fresh section 504 policy itself, along with the resolution to make sure that it was adopted. So, and it puts everything in place as far as the protected classes, all of them, including gender and including familial status. Those are the 2 things that have been added most recently.
Can we get a copy of that?
It is available through.
They have to sign the resolution
Okay.
and approve it tonight.
Yeah, that's all that'll be done tonight.
Okay, thank you so much. I
I
appreciate
just
it.
want to make a correction, and I stepped out, I just made it known that the two convenience stores, they can only have 4 or less. But
Yeah, I didn't say
they don't
that.
have a license for that.
Nobody has, yeah.
They don't have a license, so I don't have a completed application for them, so no one has a license for those stores.
So are we getting any money from them?
No, they have not applied with a complete application.
I thought
We
we
will
paid that.
when they apply, we will.
Wait a
when
minute,
they're
let me
approved.
clarify. We have money from the 2 main ones,
Right.
not the convenience store.
Right.
Nobody did a complete application for the convenience store.
Do they have machines in them now?
They have them, I've sent them a warning letter,
Okay.
and he told him that he needed to complete his application. He submitted the application, but it wasn't complete.
Gotcha.
So he thought he was good to go, but I told him unless he hear from the town, he is not, and he understood. So he's working on getting his application completed.
Thank you.
And then we will receive 5,000 each.
So there's
Yeah.
an additional 10,
Are
so
approved.
the town will receive a total of 208,000 per year.
So we have received the 24,000.
48,000.
24 each business.
I'm sorry, if I could address you just for a couple minutes. I don't mean to belabor this any, but, excuse me. Kathy Baker, Jordan and Associates. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your confidence in electing Jordan and Associates once again to work with you. However, one of the things that I did want to say is because there was only one proposer on your request for proposals, then there will need to be a specific letter from the town to DEO requesting that they accept the fact that you've gone through all the proper processes, and it wouldn't have generated anything different if you had done it differently. So I'll work with your staff, and we'll get all of the pieces together, and we'll send it all to the state at the same time. That's what I just wanted to make sure that that came through.
And that's what we make note of that.
Thank you all, I appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Ms. Kathy.
I will see you again soon.
All right, take care. Megan Carter, please come forward, state your name and address, please.
Good evening, Megan Carter, 10688 Hill House Drive, White Springs, Florida. And I come tonight to officially submit petition, well, actually it's 4 petitions for zoning change and future land use change. So I'll give parties to everyone. Shall I leave for the 2?
Yeah, just leave them for the 2 weeks.
So, last week I called, I spoke to, I spoke to Miss Audre, and I actually tried to call the week before, but you guys were closed for the hurricane. So what I'm doing officially tonight is submitting petitions for zoning change for 4 different properties. And each one of them you'll see has a survey attached with legal descriptions. Because like I said, when I called, Miss Audre said you guys didn't have your own forms and things, so I decided this was maybe the best way to give you the information that should be necessary to act on the petitions. And really just to answer any questions you have. So the property is a total of 60 acres. It's right across 41 here next to the library. And the current owners, who are my clients, there's also an agent authorization letter attached to each of the petitions, have been approached with an offer by a developer to purchase the property and then develop it, but the offer is contingent upon the zoning change approval. So that's why we're here tonight, to ask you guys to take action on approving the rezoning. Right now, that property is zoned agriculture, and so 2 of the petitions for 2 portions of the property are to change the zoning to residential multifamily. One, the largest piece is along the back along Jackson Street. They would like to have that changed to residential single family. And then the frontage along 41, they would like to change that to commercial.
Sounds all good to me, because we need something. Can you answer if they're planning to do like a subdivision? I've heard that in talks. I don't know.
I don't know, like I said, it's the current owners have received an offer from a developer to purchase it.
Okay.
So exactly what their plans are, I don't know. These were the specific zoning categories they asked for. So I'm assuming that that means they've got some type of a multifamily, for two of the portions. And then if they're wanting residential single family, then yeah, that would be more of like a neighborhood. Yes, ma'am.
And then the commercial.
Yes, ma'am.
Joe, did you wanna say?
No, this is what your planning and zoning board of adjustment would normally handle, but we know we don't have that in place.
We do.
You are planning it on.
Is it?
Well, Scott stepped down and nobody reapplied for the
Yeah,
new
two,
fiscal
yeah,
year.
with two.
You got two
Cheryl,
applications?
Well,
Cheryl and Todd.
This is a point where you have a private property owner with private property interests that can be jeopardized by lack of due process. Statutes are there, we do have to have certain public hearings, the public have a right to come in and address zoning changes and land use changes. We'll just have to proceed under the statute and use the council as the planning agency.
Okay. Sounds good.
So, but we'll need to get that lined up. I'll work with Ms. Carter to make sure that, you know, the applicant is notified. And we work through, this is normally the kind of thing you're planning.
Right.
But you don't have it, so,
Right.
but we can't run the risk of,
Losing it.
again, well,
What them?
it could be a regulatory deprivation, regulatory taking to fail to act on position. So now she's provided it to us, so we need to move forward as expediently as possible.
So we have a planning and zoning board still, it's just that Scott stepped down?
We don't have a planning and zoning board. We don't have any committees for the town right now.
So your charter says that you should have one, but my understanding is you can't keep it full, is that right,
In
Ms.
fact, there are only two.
Nobody's staying on it, it's an unpaid volunteer position.
Exactly.
But do we have two new applications? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? When did they come in?
Just what, a week or so ago?
Yeah, because they're really supposed to be approved before the budget, but, I mean, we can always take them, I'm not saying that, but
How many members are actually on it right
Was five. It was
Oh.
five. It
it's
was-
zero right now because it started over.
now? Okay. We'll need to address that too. You wanna have continuity. So we need to appoint these people for more than just 1 year. They need to be appointed in terms, so we'll need to get that straightened out.
Okay. So, do we need to make a motion to?
No, but acknowledge the receipt, we acknowledge receipt.
Yeah, we were not.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll make sure that we advertise and do everything we're supposed to, do a
There's-
workshop, I mean, we don't have to do a workshop.
Not
it's a hearing.
workshops, there's public hearings that are provided by statute and have to be conducted after 5:30 p.m., which won't be a problem. We'll fold them into the meeting agendas, but we need them done.
Can we do like a special meeting for those
You
public
could.
hearings
You
instead of
could.
waiting until like November?
You can't, well, but there's also certain notice requirements, you couldn't just do this tomorrow.
No, I mean, like, we can already go ahead and set one maybe for a certain time.
Let me figure out the fastest way to get it done, and I'll let the council know.
Yeah, we know, I'm just saying before, we can maybe do one public hearing before the November meeting. Maybe.
Let me do some research,
Yes.
make sure we get it done correctly, okay?
All right, Ms.
But
Carter.
the most important thing that mayor is to acknowledge that they are received in our process.
Very good. My next is gonna be about the timeline, but it sounds like Mr. Foreman's
Yeah.
gonna do some research and advise you guys. Thank you. And my contact information is in there, so if you have any questions or you need additional information, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right.
Excuse me, I think, you got a question or a comment right here?
I just wanted to clarify some verbiage. I've heard several times that Scott stepped down from the planning and zoning board. Actually, Scott's term ended and he did not reapply. So apparently, it sounds like that's the confusion, that maybe everyone didn't realize they needed to reapply to that board every year.
Yeah, she's right.
So Scott's term ended.
So am I still on it or not?
Did you
You have to apply.
I think I did. I mean, I filled out the papers.
She said she got the
I keep
application.
saying I got
She said she have yours.
I have yours and Tanya's. There's two of you all, so I don't know if there's number that needs to be more than two, or it's just two?
Well, you have to have five.
Okay, so let's start with, but we do have two people that did reapply.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, sure.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, but again, with planning and zoning boards and boards of adjustment, because they deal with your land development regulations and your codes, you typically will try to have more continuity on those boards. So if you appoint somebody, instead of appointing them year to year, you'll usually appoint them to staggered 3 to 4 year terms. And, you know, they might stop, and then you'll have to reappoint somebody to fill it, but you want them to have a reasonable expectation that they're gonna be there for 3 or 4 years, so that when they ramp up that education, again, these are volunteer positions. So we need to, if it's a peculiarity about the charter, again, something we'll need to address. But you don't wanna have this being ad hoc. You don't want people who don't really know what this stuff is coming in and making these kind of decisions. You know, you're talking about a major rezoning.
And that's the main thing, we really need a planner to
You do.
advise the planning board, because without a planner, nobody's really qualified to make decisions on this type of stuff. So, I mean,
Well, you need a planner, or again, we need to get with the North Florida Regional Planning Council. We need a planning entity to assist the local planning. So you got to get that.
did you ever advertise for that, Vanessa, or?
We've been advertising for a lot of things, but we have not been getting feedback.
Right.
We had a planning and zoning, person, they
A
resigned.
planner?
We'll advertise for that as well.
No, you said you had a planning and zoning person.
Everything, so we'll have to re-advertise, but I will reach out to North Florida Regional Council tomorrow.
All right, Adrienne Sachse.
I'm Adrienne Sachse, and I live at 16560 Jewett Street. And last time when I was here, last month, I asked about the potential for the city to, or the town to close the portion of Wesson Street that has been abandoned by the city for, I don't know how long, probably 30, 40 years. I mean, there are 3-foot diameter trees on there. The attorney told me that I needed to go to Jasper and talk to the property people and see if there had been any formal closure of that annotated on the property records. I was at the property appraisers last week, and they were able to give me this map. He said that it would help you understand exactly what was going on and where the properties were located. I own this property here, which is 8128, and I own this property here, which is 8124. And this is Wesson Street, which you can tell is not a street. And the property appraiser told me that for the city, for me to get that property, the city had to formally vacate the land. And if the city passed an ordinance saying that they were vacating that land, then half of that street would go to each side of the property.
That's correct.
So that's what I'm asking, is the city willing to vacate that abandoned portion of Wesson Street?
So there's an application process under statute that we'll have you go ahead and go through. It's really not, it's just the same thing as the zoning change. When you're asking for something like that, that's public property, so when they give it up, the public has a right to say no. So just to object if they want to a hearing. So we'll have to set that for a hearing. I'll get you the applications we use down in Columbia County. You can give me your email address before you go tonight. But you'll just file that with the town, and it'll be heard at the town council meeting.
Okay.
All right? So you did what we asked. You found out if it was still there, and it is. So, all right.
And so can we do that like at the public hearing for this other, like coincide both of them?
It can go with any council meeting.
Oh, okay.
There is an advertising requirement that she's gonna have to meet,
Okay.
so she puts in a local paper, just saying, hey, I wanna close this road.
Oh, she's responsible for that?
She's responsible for
Okay,
that.
okay,
But
so,
we'll help, I'll show you how that works.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
But the idea is to let the public know she wants to do it,
Right.
so there can be a public hearing, and if somebody has an issue with it, y'all can consider that before you make your decision. It'll ultimately be your decision. But you want to leave it right up there first.
Okay. Sharon Shea?
Hello, Sharon Shea, 10610 Wesson Street. Got some good news. Swanee Bicycle Association is having their annual Fat Tire Festival that we've been having for probably over 25 years. and it's the weekend of October 27th through the 30th, and it'll be bringing in over 150 people. Now, in conjunction with that, the AR Georgia, which is Adventure Endurance Crazy Races, they're also doing a race at the same time. Y'all probably are aware of that through the application process. They're using Field, and they're using a lot of our Swanee bicycle trails. And it can be up to 30 hours of endurance things, from paddling, running, and bicycling. So that's going to be going on at the same time, and they can have between 170 and 200 people. So that's going to be a lot of people, and just to let you know, and if you can help to let the citizens of White Springs know that these things are going on. If they've got dogs that, you know, run loose, probably a good time to, especially that Saturday when the racers are out. And the other part is that all of their events, SBA as well as the AR Cauldron Race, we will go through the Wayside Park, the Highway 41 bridge. And just sometimes the trash cans can kind of start overflowing there. I haven't seen a whole lot lately, but if we could just realize that we are having a lot of people going to be in town, we want to make a good impression. And here is another thing that I just noticed. Rode out on Highway 135 on, I think, on Saturday, and rode out there today out to Big Shoals, and there was a lot of litter. And what I believe is happening is Waste Pro, because I've seen this, you know, not just in our area, but in other areas. They load their dumpsters up, they start to drive down the road, and everything keeps going and coming down. So it looks like that. It's really a mess right now, 135, and it does need some wayside litter pickup along that road.
When you say on 135, are you talking about in the city limits or outside of the city limits?
Well, I guess it's probably a little bit of both. When you go across the railroad tracks to the Little Shoals, or I don't know if it's the Little Shoals, but the first entrance into the Big Shoals State Park, there was a lot of litter, and I don't know if it kept going. But it was,
of course, in the city limits, of course, but I think once you pass the water tower, that's not us. So.
yeah, but who is, but wouldn't you want to contact them, or since who is responsible for letting Waste Pro know that they've got to secure their litter? Because, I mean, it's just not on that street. I've noticed it also on Highway 41 inside the city limits more recently. And I truly think it is the Waste Pro. So with that said, I want to make a good impression. And let's see. Well, are y'all going to talk about the Christmas parade?
Not tonight. We hadn't planned on it.
Or so you won't be talking about the chili cook-off, but it is that night?
There's no cook-off. We just serve chili to the community.
Okay, and is there if it's going to be over at the tourism seat, tourism?
It will be at the ballpark.
It'll be at the ballpark. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Any presentations? None? Approval of the minutes for September 13, 2022. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So we move that we approve the minutes from September 2022.
Can I get a second on the motion?
I'm very, very second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No old business. We're going to new business. Reading and adoption of the CDBG 504 policy resolution. Ms. Kathy Baker explained what that was. I have the resolution 23, should be 22 dash.
No, I do this one.
Okay, 23-03. A resolution of the Town of White Springs, Florida, adopting a section 504 compliance policy. You say something? Oh, you keep looking like
I'm just looking at it.
All right, so can I get the council to approve resolution 23-03?
I'm very, very so moved.
I wouldn't say so moved.
So
You don't have to say anything, it's just so moved.
Don't know the other name, okay?
Yeah, you don't have to say anything.
So moved.
Can I get a second on the motion?
Nicole, we second the motion.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Anybody vote?
Yeah, we need voice votes.
Yes.
She says say aye, then you have to voice vote.
Oh, I'm good.
Recall
Say it
for the vote.
again.
Recall for the vote.
All those in favor of adopting resolution 23-03, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that was passed. Reading and adoption of Old Fashioned Day, I have a proclamation here. Brown Family Old Fashioned Day, October 2022. Whereas it is a pleasure and a privilege for the town of White Springs to extend best wishes to the descendants of Annie Lee Brown, most especially her 9 children and their families, in addition to the Brown family. Best wishes are extended to the following extended families: Dolman, Dowdell, Jefferson, Lumpkin, Rivers, Scipio, White, and Young. Whereas the heart of this Brown Family Old Fashioned Day is appreciation to Annie Lee Brown, who devoted her love, life, and energy to raise her 9 children with old-fashioned values. These values include faith in God, love of her children and family, appreciation of her family history and heritage, a profound belief in spirituality, and the belief that every member of her family would find joy in sharing all aspects of everyday life. These family values represent what is truly good about life in the town of White Springs. Whereas today we acknowledge Letitia Brown Bristol, her life and her passing. She was a daughter, mother, wife, and faithful church member. Letitia was also known as Miss Hattie Jenkins, who was a colorful character fashionably dressed with hat gloves and her famous white boots. She would be remembered for her humor and willingness to serve where she could. Therefore, the town of White Springs hereby proclaim and celebrate October 23rd, 2022 as Annie Lee Brown Old Fashioned Day with special recognition and love for Letitia Tasha Brown Bristol for her lifelong commitment and ardent participation and support to the Brown family and their old-fashioned values. For anybody that don't know, Brown Family Old Fashioned Day, it's a lot of good gospel singing, folk telling, and good old-fashioned Southern cooked food that's free to everyone in the community. Outside of the community, that we have people come from as far as Panama City, down south, and all over, in all the neighborhood communities. So everyone is welcome.
Where is it held?
It is at, on Colonial Street. I don't have the actual.
1685, I think that's,
1685.
it's, Gerald Ford.
It is, but I don't know the actual number, but it's on Colonial. And Colonial is a dead end, so it's right at the dead end. It's not hard to find at all.
So is this a street closure kind of thing, or is this just at a house, or what?
It's in the family's yard. They have a pavilion that's built up there, so it's not a street closure, no.
Thank you.
All right. Can I get we have to adopt this, we have to approve this proclamation. Can I get a motion to approve the proclamation for the Brown Family Old Fashioned Day?
We move that we adopt the proclamation for the Brown Family Old Fashioned Day.
Can I get a second on the motion?
I'm very so.
No, second.
Give me
When you approving the motion, when you're gonna make the motion, you say so moved. When you approve it, you just say, I second.
I'm very second.
Okay.
I have a question.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, now your question.
Will we be able to put it on the website for the town? This.
I heard you. It's not the town's event. This is a family event. But everyone is invited. I'm announcing it.
And they will put something out, she said.
The family may put something out. It's their event. It's nothing that the town is doing. All right, town ordinance request from CivCom.
Yes, ma'am.
Know what that's about?
Shauna Adams, the tobacco cessation coordinator of Hamilton County. She is wanting the town of White Springs to produce an ordinance on cessation tobacco in young people. So she will come or call and give us more information. She's just sending that out, but she didn't want it done before the first of the year, which is why she asked me to put it on here. So I'll give you what I do have when she sends it to me tomorrow, this information.
All right.
And I did tell her it would take 2 readings before board will become and it gets adopted.
Alright, time for meetings. Nicole?
Okay, after our budget hearing and some of the comments that was made about what can they do to help, I understand that we already have the calendar done, but a way that I see that we can get back on one accord with the town and the citizens is to redo the committee, open it up again, because I know in the past we have accepted applications after September. But to give the citizens a chance to help us plan these events. We already have done the calendar, so I don't see any harm in opening up the committees again, letting people get on special events and help the town prepare and sponsor these events. And
Let me make a correction on that. The events have never been closed. They're just not applying. And it's been known for years that they have to be done every September.
But usually.
So it's nothing new. I mean, we haven't shut them down.
But usually, in the past, it has been done a couple different ways. Sometimes the admin secretary or whatever will call the people that was previously on the committee, ask them if they're still interested in serving on the committee, or it will be something in the water bills telling about the committees and the deadlines for the committees. But we really hadn't really mentioned in any of the meetings lately about the committee being open. I know I haven't been to all of them when I had my surgery and stuff. I missed a couple of workshops or whatever, but I don't think I've missed any council meetings. And the ones I have attended, we have not even mentioned like the different committees that the town has. For people to go ahead and join, for them to know, okay, these committees are open, we need people to serve this, that, and the other. So I feel like in the best interest of the town and a compromise between the city, the council and the people, to open up these committees, give the citizens a chance to help us with the events that we have scheduled on our calendar.
Can we put it on the website? Can we put it on the website?
It will be on the website.
The request for committee members.
And what might work, because I didn't know that there was a schedule or calendar for that. And so what if we listed the committees and had kind of like a description of the duties for that? And had it somewhere where people could see if they are interested in joining, you'll find out how interested and how much people really want to participate, to have whatever committees the town wants or should have, what it involves, and then go from there. I mean, I know there are policies and calendars and stuff, but it's kind of like, there's got to be a place where we can put all that information, kind of get it organized and put dates around it. I don't know what y'all think, but to me, because I don't know what all the committees are.
Our website is being revamped, but I agree we could put it all on the website with a short description. We'll try to get that on there. And so it won't be on the current website, but it will be on there by November 1st. That's the date that we're ready to launch.
Great.
And it should be a whole new experience for everybody.
Will that have the calendar also?
It will have a calendar. It will have everything that you all are requesting.
Thank you.
And that will solve a lot of problems about getting information out. It will have the agendas, it will have everything on there, minutes, everything.
Well, that's awesome.
All right, moving on to the departmental and administrative comments. Anything from the public? Yes, sir.
Sylvester Warren. As I was in the audience, I was listening to the young lady who wants to work on rezoning some of the property. I think it's around the curve between past the library on the left-hand side. I would caution this council and caution this administration and the citizens, and especially the fire chief, as a developer myself, and working on projects, when you start bringing development, you start bringing the need for more services, fire services, police services. So I would ask that you proceed with extreme caution as to what you're getting ready to get yourself into when you're talking about rezoning property for commercial, for multifamily, for single-family housing, because that's going to require certain services that White Springs, at least at this time in my opinion, would not be capable of handling, or at least have some type of contingent plan in place between the town of White Springs and maybe other towns nearby that you would be able to meet those services. So I just very much so caution that you proceed very wisely and prudently as you decide whether or not you vote to do something to that level of zoning. Because she's asking for a zoning change and not telling you exactly what she's putting there in order to benefit the owner. What you may end up with there may not be what you can handle. So I'll just like to say that and let the council decide. At the end of the day, it's your town, it's y'all vote, but be sure to know what you may be getting yourself into when it comes to that aspect. Thank you.
Mr. Warren, do you include the water, what's the availability of the water system that we didn't know there or something?
Oh, I'm just a citizen. I don't run White Springs. That would be up to the utility director. That would be up to the administrator. They got attorneys. They got everything.
That would be under consideration.
That would be a consideration for the council and the attorneys. I was just concerned about when you start bringing in multifamily housing, you start bringing in apartments and housing, you start bringing in, you need more services. And there's already a limited amount of services that this town already have. So if you plan on, I'm not stopping any growth. I'm saying if you can plan on growing and you should grow, you know, you have to have the right pieces in place. So I'm just asking the council and the administration to be mindful of that, and the citizens to be mindful of that as you grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Any other comments from the public? All right, town manager.
Okay, well, as you heard from Ms. Baker, we've just been working on the CDGB grant. And on, as far as, Steve will get more into that, we have a meeting on Tuesday at 4 o'clock in Jasper. Still trying to work out the deal with, the county concerning the fire department. As you all know, we still have our fire department, and we have, appropriated funds for at least, was it 4 part-timers, more than we've ever had without the county. Hopefully we can get the county in with us. As I said, we're gonna meet on Tuesday. The sewer grant is still in the review process. And, I do have a question, but we're advertising for code enforcement / building and zoning. But let me ask the attorney, do we have to advertise for a planner, or can I just reach out to a planner like Kimberly Horn or someone that has worked with us before? Because it's kind of getting to the point where we need to get it done.
So, planning services aren't exempt under the CCNA, so you do have to solicit it. However, it's not unusual for a smaller community. You put out the solicitation, but concurrently reach out and say, look, we need you to put in an application, because similar to what happened with Jordan Associates earlier this evening, they might be your only applicant, but you can always hold out to the public. We did open it up, we did make it competitive, we just have one application. So it's again, not unusual in a smaller community to have to do that. But no, unfortunately, there's not an exemption under the CCNA to just direct hire them.
Okay, thank you.
Utilities director, right?
The only thing I have is, we have a new employee with the town. He started today, Charles White. He lives here in White Springs for the past 7 months. It's just been me and Clerk. And, Benji decided not to come back. So I had, after Vanessa had advertised in the paper for a month, and then we had no applicants that applied for the position.
2. We can add a position.
had no one apply. So then I went to Facebook and I put on my personal page, anybody that needed a job, you know, come see me or call me. I had several reach out, but only 3 turned in application. So Charles White, I interviewed 3 people, and Charles White, he, you know, for what we do around here, for mowing grass, and a lot of them, you know, they high pay. I mean, one of them was overqualified, one of them was underqualified, never run a 0 turn in his life. So Charles White, he applied, so I hired him, he started today. So I just asked if you see him around, you know, just welcome him to the town and employment, and I think it's gonna do great for the town.
That's it. Fire department.
I don't know if many people, there's a lot of new people here, but Robert Marvin. Y'all might remember Robert Marvin. He was a forestry and firefighter up in Jasper. He passed away last night. So, and he's fairly young. So y'all need to keep their family in your prayers. So there's not a lot of information on that yet, but it was bad. Like Vanessa talked about the contract, none of the municipalities have signed the contract, Jasper or Jennings. We're the only ones that said we'll match whatever the county provides for us. But along with that, when we match, then it wants to penalize us for things we don't do. So how can we pay to penalize ourselves? So we're wanting to match with them. But again, we'll see. We'll see Tuesday what they're talking about, because there's a lot of them that I don't know if we're just holding out, but we know what we have. Like Vanessa said, we have money appropriated for the fire department here. We don't want to just do city, but we want to take care of the city first if we can, but we need the funding to do it. We've been able to make that funding happen. Along with the funding, you know, is regardless what the county gives us, we're trying to find people. And I know a lot of people say they want to help. Well, it's not something you can really help with as a fire department, you know, because you have to have certain certifications and stuff like that. We have one person that I met with last week. He's doing his physical coming up. He is a paramedic, so he's very interested in this. I have another meeting on Thursday with a person that, like Ray said, would be probably overqualified, but he's like me, retired, and he wants to keep his fire service. He's very educated. I used to work for him, matter of fact. So we're trying to get that. You know, I want to be able to advertise this somehow, because I've been talking to some of the fire departments, and some people don't want to, some do. But that's where we're going to get these people from, other departments, as a part-time job. Some people in the wintertime, in the summer they cut grass. In the winter, they don't have a lot of grass to cut, so we can use their expertise in what we're needing. So I want to be able to, the council say it's okay for me to kind of advertise that, so just word of mouth, put it out, because when I put it out, I'm going to have particular stipulations and requirements. If you don't meet them, you don't meet them. You know, we're not going to argue about I got this or I'm going to. You have to have it or you don't, because the city is that liability of this whole thing. You know, we've got to do it the right way, and that's what I've been doing for months over there, is getting everything back like it's supposed to be. The engine, the big engine, if some people see it, it's Southern. The batteries were bad, so it was down there to do some minor repairs. So that's sent off. The white Chevy, we always talk about the white Chevy. It's been wrecked a couple years ago, never got fixed. We're going to get it fixed, but we wanted to wait till the budget was approved so we can get it fixed, because it's going to be rather expensive to fix it. The pump on the back, I fixed it myself and had it fixed and repumped it. It would still cost me about $300 just to do that, because it wasn't being used. So that's all operational now. The generator we found the other day wouldn't start, and our backup generator for the fire department. They're coming tomorrow to take care of that. So I'm about getting it fixed when we find it, and that's just one of them things. It's kind of one of the last things I found, like we got to get the generator running. Got 2 new portable radios coming, because you know we were short radios. These radios are gonna be able to move forward in the future when and a radio like this right now is analog. Radios are analog, digital, and now there's 800 trunking systems, but the county will never move to an 800 system. I'm sure they'll move to digital. They're gonna have to keep up with the pace, but these radios we're buying are gonna be dual purpose. So it'll work. So we're not just buying something that maybe in 5 years will be obsolete. We have the 3 AEDs. Still got one out. When we get one back, I want to put one of the AEDs over here because we have people here in the city hall, and get the city hall some training on the AEDs and put it in a stationary place where this is where it's at. They're real simple. I mean, it tells you what to do, but there's no sense in me having 3 of them over there. And when there's people over here and people come in, sometimes I'm not there, so they come over this way. So I want to provide that. Like the gentleman was talking about developments in the past, because the services weren't here in the city, they wouldn't come here. Because you put these apartments up, you put structures up, you put businesses, they want to be able to have a good insurance rate. They want to be able to provide this. So this is another reason why we're trying to provide the fire service. There's no volunteer anymore. It's not, people don't volunteer. So that's why we have to make the funds available to hire these people to do it. I would like to in the future, when we say we are a total paid fire department, 24 hours a day, but we just can't do it. But we just got to we're doing small steps at a time right now. I have people come by over there. Why don't they go, is open? I'm like, well, yeah, we're open. I'm here doing stuff, So yeah, we're open. But again, I'm not there all the time. And the hours that I am there, a lot of times nothing happens. The hours I'm not. So I don't want people to concerned about the hours I'm not there. Think about the hours that I am there and nothing ever happens. It never is going to happen when you want it to. And you don't want things to happen. So some people just have to, we're trying, listen, we're going to make this work and we want it to work. And we're interested to see what the county has to say, but we've got to have funding to do it. Yes, ma'am.
What kind of emergencies can you handle when you are there?
Well, I can do fire, I can do structure fires, do brush fires.
By yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think that was legal.
Okay, think about this. Here, I want you to think about this first. Well, I want you to think about this. To be legal, we need to have 4 firefighters to go to a structure fire.
But you would
That's
be
never
willing
going
on
to
your own
happen.
to come out?
That's never going to happen.
Okay.
Because we don't have the funding. The county don't have it, so it would be nice to have 4 because the rule is 2 in, 2 out. But at least somebody would respond to go, hey, we need Columbia County to come help us. We need Jasper to come help us. And yeah, there's going to be a period where you're standing there and somebody's going, why ain't you doing nothing? Well, I really can't do a whole lot right now. I can spray water from the outside or I can put a car fire, but I can't just go in. Who's going to run the truck? So the biggest thing right now is just having somebody to respond to tell dispatch what you're going to need. The guys I'm talking to now, they're paramedics, but we can't act as paramedics. We can only act as first responders because we're not covered under the county to be a paramedic. This is other things we're working for, so that's why I want to hire people that are paramedics and EMTs. So when we get this, we don't have to go and train these other people that we hire to be there. They already have it.
We just have to have approval.
You got to have approval, and you got to have a doctor. You got to have a doctor's protocol for that.
I know you have a lot of questions, but if you would just raise your hand and be recognized by the chair before you just blurt out.
I wasn't recognizing, I'm
Well,
sorry.
I'm the chair.
Yeah.
I'm the chair.
I'm just trying to, make it work for everybody. I just want everybody to understand I'm doing it as fast as I can and, trying to get people work in different counties. And everybody's got signs that say help wanted, help wanted, help wanted. Well, we're the same way. We need help wanted, and you're not going to say volunteers wanted. Volunteers don't work. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's going to take a little while to get it where we need to.
Yes, sir.
So if we have volunteers that will volunteer, train them to then be a fireman, or how does that work?
No, we can't do that. Jasper, the county has a training department that you can go through there, but you can't work on a fire scene not having fire one or fire two.
And does the city have a program for certain people that want to
You just have to call the county, get with Henry Land. He's the one that sets that up. We have nothing to do with that. That's why we're hiring people that already have it.
Alright, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I got a question for you. Just a rough estimate, and I know you can't give me direct, I'm just rough figure. What would it cost to have 4 or 5 hours?
You may tell you, $298,000.
We don't work those numbers.
And we don't have that kind of money.
Well, I just heard earlier now, we were getting $4,000 a year?
208. But we also gonna get, with that, we have, planning and zoning, we're gonna get a magistrate, we're gonna get those 4 part-timers. We got the 2 people that Ray needed for his department, for your public works, so it can not just be him, Curtis. We added another position for him as well. Code enforcement. And code enforcement.
Yeah,
So we added.
Some's going to the fire.
Yeah, some's going to the fire, but they're not getting it
Yeah,
all.
I'm not getting earmarked, but that's part of why we're able to fund some of
Because
this
of
now.
sweepstakes, yes.
So, yeah, so
I'm
people
just
fuss
wondering.
about the sweepstakes.
You take it away
I'm
from
glad
the
the sweepstakes are here, because I wouldn't be.
Yes.
That's all.
I have a question. I know, a few months ago, before the chief switched, Kevin and TC had a group of guys that wanted to go to training, and the council voted on sending them to training somewhere in Lake City. Is that still not an option for people who want the training?
If they want to go, they can go to the college, the Lake City Community College. They have a training center over there.
Right, but I mean, we had voted on sending, I think it was 4 people that Kevin had, that we voted on sending to Lake City to, get the training for the fire one.
I don't remember that being, because it's not in my budget, and I don't remember even being at a meeting, more than 2 meetings with Pittman and him even suggesting
Well, this has
anything.
been a while ago, but I do remember the vote, because Bus, Cordell Reddick was one of them, and it was, 3
I
other
don't even know
people.
I know who Flozell is. He works for-
No, I'm just saying, in this meeting, I remember this meeting, no, this was with us.
We didn't want to send them anywhere. I think we remember approving them to be on the fire board or something.
No, we approved for them to go take some class.
And we pay for it?
It
We
was
didn't have
some,
money for that.
it was some class, if I remember correctly. It was some class that Kevin them had found that was being taught in Lake City. I don't know if it's at the fire department over there or by the a fireman over there, instructor, whatever, that was in Lake City, but it was in Columbia County. And we voted for 4 people to get that training, because I forgot how much it was, but the council voted on it.
Didn't that like 5,000?
It's gonna be thousands of dollars.
Yeah, a couple
Then,
thousand per
if you
person.
send them to school, you have to pay them to go to school at the same time. And most people that are going to go to that school for volunteer, they can't take off from their regular job to go.
Right.
So it causes a big, somebody says, I just want to be a
So there are
firefighter.
no programs now, like ones that they took to become, that
You just said they can go to Jasper.
They
and
can
be
go to
trained.
Jasper.
So is it something that they have to pay for, or we
They
pay
have
for
to
it?
take, no, we don't have to pay for it. They go to the community college and do fire 1, fire 2
Yeah, you
over
have to
there.
get the
They
extra
can go
credentials.
they can get with Henry Land in the county and say, hey, I want to be a firefighter. When does fire 1, when's fire 2? That's something that they do.
And how, do you know how much that class is?
I wanna say, I've had, tried to help someone out to the college, and it was, a couple of years ago, it was like 5,500 by that time. Because you actually go
I
to
do remember
how the
something
gateway.
coming up with that, and the instructor is.
Yes, sir.
Flozell was one of them.
To be honest, the reason why I asked is because I'm busy with my GED right now, and this is something I will do. But if it is not gonna happen, then the next step is the military.
Why don't you check with Lake City Community College and see, about entering maybe the program out there for the fire 1?
I'll help him, I got a contact there, I'll help him.
Y'all say, I'm not trying to shut anybody down, just,
No,
we can't afford to have that education. Somebody's got to get it, and typically when